To today's webinar. Today we have Goodbaby International, the product update, and this is the spring of 2022 update. And again, this webinar is brought to you by State Farm and Safe Kids. Are identifying the contact information for Goodbaby International brands and the key contacts, provide information on at least 3 new car seat models and their features, and then discussing the importance of following the manufacturer's instructions and their guidance. And we are privileged again to have with us today Sarah Haverstick. Sarah serves as a safety advocate for Goodbaby International, which includes Evenflo, Cybex, GB, or Vinny car seat brands. And Sarah is currently celebrating her 15th year in child passenger safety as an instructor and also an instructor in the safe transportation of children with special healthcare needs. Sarah is the former chair of the National Child Passenger Safety Board, and she is the current vice chair of the Manufacturers Alliance for Child Passenger Safety. And we are thrilled to have you with us again, Sarah. And with that, I will turn it over to you.
Well, I'm super excited to be here. I think everybody who knows me knows these are my favorite webinars. I love getting to chat with you, and I have so much information to share today. Lots of new things happening with our brands, and hopefully lots of time at the end for Q&A, because I also love that. So make sure you get those questions in the Q&A box. As Stephanie mentioned, these are our 4 car seat brands, primarily focusing on Cybex and Evenflo. We don't have any new products on the GB or Beanie sides, but if you ever have questions about those, feel free to jump on. And I meant to say also, our team is stretched a little thin today. We have a lot of things going on, and some of our engineers are actually at the state conference that's happening in Indianapolis right now. So one of them is sitting in the room with Stephanie, Brian Adams. So he's here to help jump in and answer questions at the end too. We currently have about 50 certified car seat technicians on our team. This includes our entire customer service team. Those folks are really, really proud of their certification, and they're really excited when you call and say, can I speak with a technician, that they are actually also certified and can chat with you. We have office locations in Ohio, North Carolina, and Massachusetts, and we're so happy that we're finally getting back to doing the in-person things that we love to do, like hosting certification classes and CEU events and car seat checks and all of that good stuff. But we are still definitely living in a very virtual world, and we do offer car seat installation appointments with our technicians and the customer service team for both Evenflo and Cybex. So if you are ever working with one of our consumers using one of our products and you think they might need a little bit more help specifically from the company, you can always help them to register for one of these virtual appointments. We offer them every day, Monday through Friday, throughout the day. So the appointment calendar is at each of these links, and consumers can sign up based on what makes the most sense for their schedule. So I'm going to start with an update that applies to both of the brands. And we're going to talk for just a minute about Sensor Safe and our updated version of Sensor Safe, which we call Sensor Safe 3.0. So if you've never heard of Sensor Safe technology, it's technology that we have incorporated into the chest clip of some of our car seats. And it will give the consumer alerts on their cell phone, such as the chest clip being unbuckled while driving, the ambient air temperature around the child, and if it is too hot or too cold, a reminder about the length of travel at 2 hours, reminding you that you should get out and stretch and take a break and let the child stretch. And then most importantly, and the reason Sensor Safe was developed, was to provide that reminder if a child is unintentionally left behind in the vehicle. Sensor Safe also gives access to FAQs, product instructions, etc. And we've made an update. And the thing that I think is important for you to know as technicians is now we have a couple different versions of Sensor Safe out there in the field, and you're going to see both of them for some time. The new version of Sensor Safe does not have the vehicle receiver plug. So for those that have worked with this before, we used to connect directly to the vehicle, and we inserted a little plug like the, insurance track your driving kind of situation. We are not doing that anymore. And really doing direct Bluetooth from the chest clip to the cell phone makes this whole situation a little bit easier for the consumer, and the direct connection ultimately makes things a little bit more accurate. We no longer are only compatible with certain types of vehicles based on the technology we were using in the vehicle receiver plug. Now we can be compatible with anything. So for your purposes, to know if this is a sensor safe chest clip that does not require that vehicle plug, if you open up the chest clip on the inside, the new versions will have this S3 embossed. So you will see that and know that that does not require that vehicle receiver plug. You will still have versions that do have the receiver plug out there because, you know, the car seats have anywhere from a 6 to a 10-year expiration. So they're going to be around for a while. But these newer versions, all of the car seats that I talk about today that also incorporate sensor safe, all new products will be launching with this 3.0 version. Eventually, as we get rid of the old supply, all of the older products that are sensor safe capable will also move to the sensor safe 3.0, but that will be a rolling change based on inventory. So I just wanted to make sure folks were aware of those things because I've seen a couple questions pop up online about that recently. So now I'm going to go into some product specific updates, and we have a lot. And I tried to include some new product that we haven't talked about in this venue, and then tried to include some sort of FAQ type answers for some existing product that I've been getting questions about. So we'll start with Evenflo. And I think most of you know at Evenflo, we are really proud that the majority of our car seat line is actually made in the USA at our factory in Piqua, Ohio. So this is currently the full line of made in the USA product for Evenflo. The first car seats that I'm going to talk about are our brand new all-in-one car seats. And this version is the Evenflo All41. You can see it has 4 modes of use. They're listed on the left-hand side of the screen, so I'm not going to name out those specs to you. But this does have a rear-facing all the way through backless booster mode. This seat has a 12-position adjustable headrest with a no rethread harness. There's optional head and body pillows. Those are optional at all times in rear-facing mode, so you don't have to use them, and we have no weight limit associated with when they have to come out of the seat. You may not use them in forward-facing or booster modes, so that's the only restriction around their use. This features sensor safe, and this is that new sensor safe 3.0 that we just spoke about. It has our easy click lower anchor system, and I'm going to show you a slide about that in a minute. And then we're built on a steel reinforced frame with a 10-year expiration from the date of manufacture. Then you step up in price point to the All-for-One DLX. So this is based on that same platform, still a 4-in-1 car seat. So all the specs are the same on the left, and all of the general usage is the same. All of those features we already discussed are already on this product as well. We've just added in a few additional things. First, we have the quick clean cover. I'm going to show you a slide that has a close-up of this, but it's some orange tags that help you to quickly remove that cover for cleaning. We have a cup holder snack tray insert. You can see that on the right-hand side. And then this product is also Green Guard Gold certified for low chemical emissions. On both of these products, we have 6 recline positions. 4 of those are available for rear-facing mode. And when rear-facing, we do have this dual range recline indicator. Up at the top of the product, it's kind of in that side wing, side impact protection area. So you can see a more reclined zone in the lighter blue and a more upright zone for larger kids in the darker blue. Then we have 2 forward-facing recline positions. Position 5 is the note on the screen. You can only use that position when the child weighs more than 40 pounds. So that would be your semi-reclined forward-facing position. The child must be over 40 pounds to use that. And then you've got that full upright in position 6 that the child can use at any point forward-facing. The cup holders on this product must be attached to the car seat at all times. So this goes for both of those models. Any friends from Canada on the line today, your version also comes with screws that we provide. So those cup holders must be actually screwed onto the product in Canada. The cup holders are removable and they are dishwasher safe. So you can take them off and stick them in the dishwasher if needed for cleaning, but they must be attached to the product for use. I wanted to call out our Easy Click latch connectors in case you've never worked with this before. Our Easy Click system is our ratcheting lower anchor system. It's a really, really easy installation method to get a very tight and secure installation. One side just has a typical small push-on lower anchor connector, and the other connector is what you see on screen, this larger Easy Click connector. You unfold that handle and then just ratchet the handle back and forth. You will see and feel that car seat getting tighter, and you do not need to climb into the vehicle, press on the car seat, do any pushing, pulling, etc. You can just stand outside the car and ratchet that handle back and forth. I mentioned the quick clean cover, say that 6 times fast. We've got these little orange tags that go all the way around that car seat. So you just look for an orange tag and then you're able to open that car seat pad in that location. And it just gives you some markers for where to easily open up the seat pad for cleaning. Some measurements for our All-for-One and All-for-One DLX. You've got kind of those basic dimensions on screen. The lowest harness height is at about 7.5 inches, and the tallest harness is at about 18 inches. The tallest harness slot is basically equal with that tallest belt guide position, that shoulder belt guide position. Remember, the base can also come off for a backless booster mode. So those are the 2 newest all-in-one car seats. The last webinar, we in detail spoke about the Nurture Max, but I just wanted to bring this one up again today since it is still pretty new and now is actually on the market. So this is our newest infant car seat, the Evenflo Nurture Max. This is a brand new product, but is replacing the older Evenflo Nurture. So that one is no longer in production, was out of production by the end of last year. This version starts at 4 pounds. So we have optimized the dimensions inside this car seat to better fit that really small infant as well. It remains a very, very lightweight and just basic infant car seat that comes in at a really important opening price point so that consumers have access to the technology and to the types of car seats that they need. The team was also able to do a little bit of innovation even at this opening price point. So we've added in this push and go handle. The handle can be used in the upright carry position in vehicle where it is right now in this image, or it can be back behind the child's head at the top of the shell. This is, very importantly, I didn't even say this yet, a front adjust harness system. So no more with this rear adjust. It is front adjust only. If you need to adjust that harness height for the child, you will do that back behind the shell at the splitter plate, as is pretty traditional for non-rethread or for regular rethread harness systems. The base is, again, still very basic at this opening price point, but the team did a fair amount of work. We know with the old Nurture base, you pretty much needed a pool noodle or a rolled towel to get the appropriate recline. So we did a lot of work to optimize the fit of this base in vehicle so that we hope you will not need to access those resources. However, you can use them if necessary. So if you do still need a roll towel or a pool noodle, that is acceptable for this use. We also added in an anti-rebound design to this base as well. Also in November, I spoke in more detail about our newest booster seats, but just wanted to bring them up for a minute again today. This is the GoTime LX high back to backless booster. You can see the specs on the left-hand side of the screen. This booster has a 7-position adjustable headrest, and we've got overlapping head and body supports. And when you raise that headrest up to those additional positions, the body support, that side wings area, also raises up with it. So that remains together. This seat has 2 cup holders and then a detachable base, as I mentioned. Then we go down in price point just a little bit to the GoTime Sport. Has all of the same specs that you see on the left-hand side of the screen and all of the features that we talked about. So for use for you out in the field, this is exactly the same. The changes here are really design and aesthetic. So you can see the hard goods are slightly different and the soft goods are a little bit different, but that's the major difference there. And then we also have the GoTime available as a backless booster at retail. All of these, the Nurture Max and the GoTime, are available on that institutional price list for you too. So we have factory select options. to make it easier for you to purchase this in bulk if necessary. And then this version comes as a 4-pack in bulk. So if you're buying the Backless, we try to do some multi-packs there for you on the institutional price list to make it, number one, easier for you to store, and two, can help you maximize those grant dollars. I've gotten a couple of questions about this recently related to the booster. So I thought this would be a really good time to chat about this as a group. So the booster seat, this is a pretty basic booster seat. There are not a lot of labels that go on this product. And I've had some questions about this label in particular. And you can see what its location is, kind of the back bottom portion of this booster seat. And the confusion that I've seen is that it has the maple leaf, which for those that aren't aware, this is the national safety mark for Canada. And folks have thought that maybe that meant that this was a Canadian product. So I wanted to clarify a few things. Just this national safety mark being on the product is not enough to by itself make this product a Canadian product. So I think that's important for us to know. And then when we look in detail on that label, you can see for Canadian models, which are model numbers that end in C. So if you have an Evenflo product, our numbering and model number schematic is that for US product, the number is going to be all numbers. And I know this is a little bit kind of hard to read because it was a picture of something on a shell that was shiny, but US is going to be numbers only. Canada will be numbers, which are often very similar, and then it will follow with the letter C. So you will always see the C on our Canadian products. And that's how you would know that this is a Canadian product and not a US product SKU. So just so you're aware of how this gets laid out on our product, this is the backside of the Go Time Booster in high back mode. You can see there is a US product use and NHTSA compliance type label on the left-hand side underneath where that cup holder area is. So there's more product detail there for the consumer. It also has that label that we just saw on the very back of the seat. On the right-hand side, underneath that cup holder area, you would find a French label if this was a Canadian product. So, and you won't find any label there as you see in this picture if it's a US product. So just wanted to help clarify that, but certainly if there's more questions, put them in the chat for me. I mean, not the chat, the Q&A, so that Stephanie can find them. So then I wanted to quickly bring up the Revolve 360. This is our rotating all-in-one car seat. So you've got all of the specs rear facing through high back booster mode on the left-hand side of the screen. I'm bringing this one up because it is not really brand new, but kind of new. This is a newer version of Revolve that we are selling at Walmart exclusively. So you will find that it is a little less expensive than the original Revolve that we launched, which is in our Evenflo Gold product line, but it still has mostly all the same features. So we've got a 14-position adjustable headrest with that no rethread harness. We obviously have a 360-degree rotation. So this car seat you can rotate to face the side of the vehicle for easy loading and unloading of your passenger. And we have a really unique belt path and installation that we're going to talk about in just a minute. On the base, you can sort of see the anti-rebound design over here, except it goes so high that it is cut off in this picture. So we've built that base with an anti-rebound design in mind. We list in instructions that we prefer you to use the seatbelt because this whole car seat is quite heavy and does have rear-facing and forward-facing lower anchor weight limits. So just easier if you start using the seatbelt from the beginning, then you don't have to worry about when to make that adjustment. We do have a belt tensioning system in the base. So regardless of how you're installing it, whether that's with the lower anchors or with the seatbelt, the Lockstrong belt tensioner is going to help tighten and tension that belt for you so that you don't have to work as hard. And there's an indicator inside that belt tensioner that will turn green when you've got it successfully reattached to that base and locked in position. This is a belt tensioner. This is not a lock off. So you do still need to lock your vehicle seatbelt after you have used this. On this base, the big difference between the gold version and this version that's available at Walmart is that we have replaced the lower anchors with hook style lower anchor connectors. So they're in storage in this image, but that's what you will have on this version. And you know, the fashions, soft goods, aesthetics, etc., are just a little bit different between those two different models. The other really unique thing about the Revolve is that we always want you to use the tether. So both rear facing and forward facing in both of the harness modes, the tether is always used. It comes out from that base. So, and I guess I didn't mention for those that weren't aware, the seat removes from the base. So you didn't see that. There was no car seat in that image before when we looked at the base. So that's another really unique feature of this product as well. So when you're doing that install, you're really just installing a base more like an infant car seat, and then you're able to add the shell back on. So for that reason, you know, you're using that tether, and we want you to use it from the very beginning. So always using the tether in those harness modes. And another question that I've been getting more recently, you know, when you go to work with a product like this, and especially if it's a product you haven't ever touched and worked with before, I've had some folks that start to do like the uninstall, and they start to take it out of a vehicle and then realize, oh no, I need to get that shell off. I can't get, you know, that seatbelt all the way out without getting the car seat out of the way. And if they've not worked with the product, you know, you can see why you might miss that, because it is a little bit different than most other products on the market. But if you do that, you know, if you unbuckle first and you've locked your retractor as we told you to, depending on how you move that base, I've seen where people have gotten it where, you know, now you're still retracting that shoulder belt, and it's a little bit harder to work with the seat when you've got like half of it installed, kind of hanging in the air with this locked shoulder belt, and then you're still trying to figure out how to get the actual car seat off the shell. So I wanted to call out that in our product instructions, we do note that when you are taking the product out, you need to remove the seat shell from the base first. So that's where we start. Remove that seat from the base before you touch any part of the installation when you're trying to get this out of a vehicle. And then you go through the steps of taking it out, which in this case, if you're using the seatbelt, would be unbuckling your seatbelt and then opening up the Lock Strong belt tensioner. So next new product, and this is weird because I don't normally show strollers in product update presentations, but in this case, I felt like this was a stroller feature that was worth you knowing as a technician. So we have a new stroller that is being sold as a travel system with the Evenflo Max infant car seat that is called the Pivot Visor. The idea with the Pivot Visor is the bumper bar kind of has this little fanny pack on it. And from the top of the fanny pack, you can unzip a privacy screen that attaches to the stroller canopy. And from inside the fanny pack, you can attach a privacy screen to the lower portion of the toddler seat, in this case, if you're using it on the stroller. However, you could also take that privacy screen from the bottom and attach it to the Max infant car seat as well. So it's a privacy screen that can either essentially be used on that toddler seat in the lower portion of the toddler seat on the stroller, or can be positioned on that Max carrier as you see on the right. So the note that I wanted to call out here for you, again, relevant to our work with car seats in the vehicle, is that as you see it on the left attached to the base, you may continue to use that privacy screen on the infant car seat. We are fine with that use in vehicle. However, the warning shot that you see right there is written in product instructions, and that what I'm showing you on screen is actually a tag from on the privacy screen. And if you are installing this without the base, by itself as a carrier, you may not use this privacy screen, because you can kind of see here if you were using this without the base with the privacy screen attached, we've basically blocked that that belt path for the lat belt if you were going to install this without a base. So we do not allow you to use it in that mode, but as you see it right there attached to the base, it's fine to keep the privacy screen attached. So just a few things to round out our Evenflo discussion. We do allow all of our soft goods to be machine washed. You would do this separately, cold water, gentle cycle, and then you can take that material and put it into the dryer and tumble dry on low for 10 to 15 minutes. That part, especially if you're a new technician, that part is definitely unique and not allowed by all manufacturers. So make sure you confirm always how to clean and use your soft goods with your car seat. But in this case, for any Evenflo soft goods, we allow that usage. We also always allow you to place a towel underneath and behind that car seat installation to protect your vehicle upholstery. We also have an accessory mat that is branded from Evenflo that may be used with any of our car seats or booster seats in that situation as well. And we've gotten lots of questions in the last couple of years about product disinfecting. So I've said this before, but I'm going to just keep repeating it while people keep asking the question. We will allow you to use 70% isopropyl alcohol to disinfect your car seat if that is what you feel like you need to do. So you can spray or wipe the surface of the car seat. We want it to be damp, but not soaked. So please don't dump the entire bottle of alcohol on the car seat itself, but just dampen that surface. We tested all parts. So from the fabric, the harness, the buckle, all of those pieces, we tested when we were working through this. And then the beauty of the alcohol is it evaporates pretty quickly. So once it evaporates and the surface is dry, you can go back to using that product again. And then for those that don't know, we have our institutional sales team. I referenced them a little bit earlier, and they are definitely happy to help answer your questions. If you are interested in any type of bulk purchasing for any of our products or have questions about how that works, feel free to reach out to that team. All right, so now I have actually a brand new car seat to share with you from Cybex. I am really excited about this. I feel like it's been a little while since I've had something new and exciting on the Cybex side to share, and you guys get to be the first to know about this. So we're still a couple months out, and there's some delays with, world events happening. We may have a few delays with this, so we expect this new product to be in store later this summer, potentially early fall-ish. But you get to find out about it now. So I'm really excited to share it. So this is a new infant car seat. This is the Cybex Cloud G, and the version I'm showing you here on screen is the Cloud G Luxe. Please don't get distracted by the fact that I used just the carrier in the picture. We're going to talk about the base on the next slide. So it does come with the base, but I wanted to just focus on each part individually for a second. This infant seat has a 12-position adjustable headrest with a no rethread harness. It also comes with that sensor safe that we talked about in the beginning. This seat features a full recline backrest, and we're going to talk about that in a lot more detail in a little bit. And then we have our LSP, or linear side impact protection system, incorporated into this, similarly to how you've seen it on other infant seats, where you're going to extend the side, the LSP towards the vehicle door, depending on where you've got it positioned in the vehicle. And then this seat features flame resistant fabrics without added chemical treatments. So here is the base on the Cloud G Luxe, and this is where I get really excited. So we have an integrated anti-rebound design. We have rigid lower anchor connections, and we've got a load leg. So some really fabulous features there. We also have a safe lock belt tensioning system. So if you choose to use the seat belt instead of the load leg, we give you this belt tensioner. It is a tensioner and not a lock off. So again, you would need to lock your vehicle seat belt. And the base has a 4-position adjustable recline foot. There will be a second version. So we will have the Cloud G Luxe, which we just saw, and then there will be a Cloud G, just standard, no luxe. The big difference here, we've got all of those same features that we just talked about. The difference is that this base does not incorporate the load leg. So this is a base that still has the rigid latch, but does not have the addition of the load leg. So let's talk about the installation for a minute, because this part is fun. And, I'm calling this both seats because this part of the installation doesn't deal with the load leg either. Obviously, you would add in the load leg if this was the G Luxe, or this would be the end of the installation if this is the Cloud G. So the first thing that you're going to do is extend the rigid latch. We are shipping this in the position in that you are ready to use it in lower anchor mode. We know by looking at things like the National Digital Check Form data that most consumers are starting with these infant seats with lower anchors first. And I think a lot of know, rigid latch is a really great installation method. So we are going to start with those lower anchors in position. So out of the box, the consumer can just start using those right away, because we think that's how most consumers will choose to use the product. So as you can see kind of in this picture, there's a little lever button mechanism here. You're going to squeeze in the button, push forward towards the vehicle seat back, and extend that lower anchor connector so that then you are able to connect each side to the lower anchor bar in the vehicle. After you've connected them, but before you've done anything else, that's when you're going to start adjusting your recline. So then you can adjust the recline accordingly, depending on that vehicle seat and the recline zone you need to be in. And you can kind of see, this is just an image, but the recline zone is right here. Then you are going to just push in the base towards the vehicle seat back to get a really, really tight, snug, secure installation. I'm going to show you a video next. And before I show you this video, I just want to explain what it is, because it's not perfect. I said we're a couple months out from this seat actually being in the market. So we have not created installation videos yet. You will have those available for you once this product is actually out on the market. But one of the ways that you can help get this base nice and tight in there is what we're calling walking the base for that installation. So I asked the team if they could just do a quick video on a sample product with this walking the base. So the video is not perfect, but I think you'll get the point. And you might hear audio, but the audio is not necessary. So basically you are connecting right there, each side. And then to get it nice and tight, you can push directly back, but sort of what we're doing here is pushing the right side and then the left side, and then the right side and then the left side. And then they pushed it so hard, they moved the chair. So the walking that we're talking about is, kind of independently pushing one side and then the other to snug up the base even more. And that's a good way to get that really tight installation with this. I mentioned we are going to ship this so that it is in use, ready to go for the rigid lower anchors. And that's what you see in the circled inset right here. That's the ready to use lower anchor position. However, if you decide that you want to use the seatbelt and then you would like to, use that instead of the rigid lower anchors, or if you want to put it in the center of the vehicle and you don't have lower anchors that are spaced 11 inches apart for rigid latch, you can stow the rigid latch and use the seatbelt instead. So to do that, there's a little mechanism up here at the bottom of that reclined foot. That's where the rigid lower anchor is connected for use. You're going to open up that little lock mechanism, and then you're just sliding those lower anchors back, and you can see this open hole back here is where they're going to lock into for storage. Then if you're going to put them back into use for rigid lower anchor installation, then you're going to just slide this forward. So it kind of goes back and forth like a little flip foot. If you're using a seatbelt installation, you're going to open the safe lock belt tensioner. You will have put that rigid lower anchor connector is back in storage. You're going to route the vehicle seatbelt. You can see we've got these little blue ears right here. So you're going to put the seatbelt underneath those little clips. You're going to buckle it. You're going to tighten, just to remove slack. You don't need to overdo it with any kind of tightening, but you do want to remove the slack. And then you will close the safe lock belt tensioner and get that nice snug installation. But note that that vehicle seatbelt must be locked. We've done a lot of vehicle fits as we've been in development with this product. And one of the things that we noticed is that you may get a gap between the top of the anti-rebound bar and the vehicle seat back here. So my blue arrow right here is meant to show you, if it's hard to see because of the angle of the picture, that is a gap between those two products. This gap is perfectly fine if you get a tight installation. And with that rigid latch, it's a very tight installation. So we aren't concerned about that gap being there. You'll get that gap, especially if you need to go into any of those reclined positions. Remember, we've got 4 adjustable positions on that base. The higher you go up, the more likely you are to get a gap between the top of that base and the vehicle seat. We do have a Euro belt route for this product. So you can see that full routing over there on the right. We do prefer the Euro belt route for that baseless installation. It gets you a nice, tight, secure installation. We do have a position in the back of that carrier for you to place the shoulder belt when you are doing that Euro belt route. So you do have that option back there. Again, your vehicle seatbelt must be locked for that installation as well. We do have an infant insert for this product. This obviously is not the final, but this is the drawing from instructions. You can see we have a little bit of a cutout to help you with positioning of where this insert is positioned in that car seating surface. So it's going to be pushed up against the buckle in that area where it's kind of cut out. And then this has like kind of these longer, wider side wings. So they have a seam in the center of them. You are able to fold that seam if you're working with a smaller infant and you want to give them a little bit more lateral support, or you can unfold them if you're working with a larger infant that doesn't need as much support and needs a little bit more space inside the shell. I mentioned that this seat has a full recline backrest. So I'm sure as soon as I said cloud, for those that are familiar with our Cloud Q product that is on the market now, you probably assumed that it was going to do something similar. So this is an update to that existing cloud platform. You can see the travel position is your regular semi-reclined, infant car seat position. That's what is used in the vehicle for travel. If you want to use that full recline position, it may only be used outside the vehicle, and you're able to adjust and recline that back to open up the back angle for the child in the seat. When you do this recline, you do not need to loosen the harness. You do not need to take the child out of the harness. The child stays fully and appropriately tightly harnessed, and then you're able to recline that backrest and the harness adjusts appropriately. So really, this is a feature that we would intend for you to use on the stroller. So we sell you travel systems, we sell you strollers and adapters for those infant car seats. This just gives you the opportunity to, if you're going to use that infant car seat on the stroller, now you can recline that backrest to put the child in a more ergonomically appropriate position. Some specs on this product, seat depth, that's always such a hard one to measure because it is a lot dependent on the vehicle, but tried to get you some of those basics here. Again, not a lightweight car seat. This has a lot of mechanism. It is built on a pretty solid chassis in that base. So there's a good amount of weight associated with this. We are not claiming it to be a super lightweight infant carrier. And then here's the full colorways for both versions. So the Cloud G and the Cloud G Luxe have the main 4 fashions over on the left-hand side of the screen. Additionally, for the Cloud G Luxe, we have the other 4 fashions on the right-hand side of the screen. Again, all of these fashions are naturally flame-resistant fabrics with no added chemicals. And you can see the price point for each of the seats on the screen as well. So just a couple of technical updates that I like to include with these webinars, because we always have brand new folks that might not be as familiar with some of our products. So some of those basics that we get asked about a lot, we do allow latch borrowing in that center seating position. So using the inner lower anchor bars from the outboard seating positions, that is allowed. Those bars must be spaced 11 to 20 inches apart. And we just finished talking about the Cloud G, which has those rigid lower anchor attachments. So with a rigid system, you can only use bars that are 11 inches apart. So it might limit the ability to use that center seating position if you don't have standard space lower anchors in that position. Most of our car seats on both sides of the brands follow the 80-20 guidance from our technician curriculum. For Evenflo, we will explicitly state in our product instructions when we do not follow that guidance, and that applies to a couple of our car seats in rear-facing mode when we want 100% of that car seat surface to be supported by the vehicle seat. And you can see what that looks like in product instructions on screen. Same for Cybex. Generally, we follow the 80-20 guidance, except we have some exceptions. All of our boosters require 100% vehicle seating surface support. If you are not using the load leg, our infant bases also require 100% support. With the load leg, you can have more than 20% overhang if necessary. So when the load leg is incorporated, we are less concerned about the amount of overhang. An infant seat that's installed without the base, in that case, we want 100% of that infant seat to be supported by the vehicle seat. And then Sirona S, which is our rotating convertible on the Cybex side, if you are not using that load leg, we do have a recline indicator or a overhang indicator on the product, and you can see that in the image. So it needs to be supported up until that indicator with the load leg not in use. Again, with the load leg, we are a little less concerned about the amount of overhang. I mentioned this earlier, but I'll just say it for everybody. All of our products allow rolled towels or pool noodles, and those are interchangeable. Our instructions generally only reference a rolled towel, but you may use a pool noodle in that situation. The exceptions here are when you're using a rear-facing only or infant car seat and you're using it with the base. If that base comes with a recline foot, we want you to try the recline foot first. And if that's not getting you enough recline, then store the recline foot and then add in the noodles or the towel as necessary to achieve the correct recline. So use it first. If it's not there at all, or if that's not enough, then you can add it in as soon as you store the foot. And then finally, for both of the brands, we have a medical waiver program. We manufacture conventional child restraints. However, there are certainly times where conventional restraints work really well for kids with special needs. I had the pleasure of working at a children's hospital before coming to work for the brands. So I've gotten to work with a lot of kids with special needs, and we just want to help you. You know, that's where our heart is. If there's a situation where we can be of help to you, and if you know, I can't promise we say yes to every situation, but if we can have that discussion, we're willing to open the dialogue and figure out what might work well for you. So if ever something comes up and you want to reach out about that, you can always email me. I will ask for lots of information. We may need to jump on a video chat, but we're happy to have that discussion and see what can work. So then this is my, giant thank you tour. I think I said this back in the fall when we last met in this format as well, but many of you know I was diagnosed with leukemia a couple of years ago and went through treatment and a bone marrow transplant last spring. I am now 14 months past transplant, which is great and doing really well, and could not have done it without the support of the people in our industry. I really, 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 truly, and I thought this before, but traumatic life events make things even more real. I've always felt like this industry just brings out the best people, and I have felt that love, so I am sending it back out to you guys. I really appreciate you and everything that you're doing out in the field every day. And to really thank you for that, we are going to do a giveaway. Woohoo! I can't give away the new Cybex stuff yet because it doesn't exist and I don't have an exact shipping date for it, but the All-for-One DLX is available now. So we are going to give 2 of those away to people that are on the webinar now. So Stephanie will draw those names. She will post it on the Safe Kids Certification Facebook page, and she will reach out to those winners. So we'll get you your new car seat. Yay! Love doing a giveaway. Here is my contact information as well as institutional sales. I think I saw, I was kind of trying to look at the Q&A a little bit and not get distracted. And somebody asked about tech discounts. So we do have those available for both of the brands. You just need to email me with a copy of your certification card, and I am happy to send you those details. Whew. So Stephanie, I think we're ready for Q&A now.
We are ready for Q&A, and I just want to let you know that some of you have gotten answers to your questions because we have both of the Bryans in the room with me who are engineers, and so they're both here, and so some of your questions have been answered, and I will do my best to combine some of the other questions together And we have 3 experts with us to answer your questions. If you don't get your question answered, I'm going to leave Sarah's contact information up. Please reach out if your question does not get answered. So first of all, Shannon was wondering why use a belt tensioner instead of a lock off, specifically on the Revolve 360.
Yeah, so that, and the guys can jump in with this too, but in the US, we do not have a test for, determining if something is a true lock off. In Europe, there is a test that is used, and basically you're looking for, belt slippage inside that device before you can deem something to be actually a lock off or not a lock off. So because vehicle belts are all different, they have different webbings, different thicknesses, it's harder for us to, just guarantee that it's going to not slip in any vehicle. So I think we typically err on the side of caution and go with calling something a belt tensioner, because physically that is what it's doing. It is helping to tension the belt, but we just don't know because there really isn't a test that we can accurately use based on US vehicles if that is going to be a lock off. Brian's, do you have anything to add to that?
Totally agree.
All right.
Awesome. Elizabeth is wondering, can the Revolve be installed in vehicles with inflatable seatbelts?
So I actually took the inflatable seatbelt side out. My understanding is we might not be seeing them as frequently as prior, but no. So the short answer is for Evenflo products, no harnessed car seats can use inflatable belts. In booster mode, we do allow inflatable belts for Evenflo. For Cybex, we do not allow inflatable belts for any installation, harnessed or booster seat.
Yep, agree.
We're getting the nods over here. So
I like it.
Awesome. Melissa is wondering if you can talk a little bit more about the recline of the Revolve 360 and what to do when the vehicle seat slope doesn't allow you to get the level into the 20 to 40 pound range.
So the first thing you can do is take a picture and send me a note with the vehicle information, because that would be fabulous. So basically, there's a few things that you can potentially try. We have 4 recline positions for Revolve, and it is an on-the-fly recline. So the base itself does not have a recline mechanism. You're going to install the base, and then when you put the car seat back on the base, that's when you're adjusting your recline. And there are 4 different positions. I've been looking a lot at the recline indicator recently and, kind of the range that we have available. We do have a more recline, which is what we note on our recline indicator that we want for those smaller infants that weigh less than 20 pounds. Over 20 pounds, we do want you to put it into the black zone, which is the more upright zone on that recline indicator. In some vehicles, it might be more difficult to get to the black zone. Now, I've noticed 2 things. Number 1, I think people are a little bit picky when they look at where that indicator is. So if your ball for that recline indicator is basically on the line or just very close to being in the black, I don't think we need to split hairs about it. You're basically in the black. And if you are using that seat in the most upright position that you can put it, and you're just basically right there on the line, I would say go for it. You're fine. We don't need to split hairs about if it's fully in the black or just a little bit in the black. We're getting into the weeds a little bit then. If the ball is still very much in the white zone, that's when I would love for you to reach out to me, or you can reach out to customer service directly, because I talk to them all the time about this. So that's when I would like to see a picture, and I'd like to know a little bit more about what vehicle you're in and exactly where it's positioned and what your overall installation looks like. If your vehicle allows and you do have seats that are able to recline, if you're able to recline the vehicle seat back 1 or 2 clicks, sometimes that can help to bring that car seat installation a little bit more upright and get you into that black zone. The other thing that I've talked about recently is, being aware of how you're and when you're tightening and tensioning that tether anchor, and if that might be changing a little bit some of the installation angle for your Revolve as well. But that would be my basic message, is if you're pretty much on the line, you're good. If you're way into the white still, send me a note, contact customer service, and I'm happy to chat about it a little bit more then.
Great. Danielle is wondering, some of their techs are curious if SensorSafe can be purchased after the fact to be added to existing products.
At this time, Sensor Safe is not available as an aftermarket product. So you may only use it on the products where it comes on that product out of box. In many situations, you know, we have this on a lot of our seats that have no rethread harnesses. You wouldn't be able to add it after the fact or remove the existing chest clip from a lot of the car seats. So at this point, it is only available on the products in which it's coming at retail out of the box with that technology associated with it.
Kate's question, is there a safety concern if a parent does not store the rigid lower anchors when installing with the seatbelt?
There's a safety concern. I think it had a little bit more to do with the installation, but I'll go back to the Cybex team and talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, perfect. Lainey is asking, an 8-inch lowest harness won't fit a 4 to 6 pound baby, even with the insert. So is there any hope of an additional preemie insert?
TBD, Lainey. You can email me. We'll chat about it.
Good answer. Great answer. On the Cloud G, does the insert reduce the lowest harness height significantly?
So that's, I put that with Lainey's question too.
Perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
That's great. All right. And then we have a couple of other questions here. We have quite a few, and the guys are answering some of those here so that we can get as many questions answered as we possibly can.
Go team, go.
Yeah, go team, go. That's right. And then while they are answering that one, is there a way for the sensor to indicate a battery or connectivity issue?
Yes. So you will get a battery alert if the battery in that actual chest clip is going low, and it can be replaced. So we have information in there. And the other thing I should mention with Sensor Safe, the newer version, you will find a separate user guide for Sensor Safe versus the car seat. So you will have your car seat owner's manual, and then you will have one that is specific to Sensor Safe and connecting to the app and giving more detail than we have in the past about how to connect to the app and the things that you can do inside the app, which I think is useful. So you can change that battery. In terms of connectivity, what I didn't mention on one of those slides, we do have an LED light inside the chest clip, and it's going to blink red until you are connected to the app. Once you connect to the app, then you're going to see a blue light blink so that you know that you've made connection and that car seat has paired between the car seat and the app on the consumer's phone.
Perfect. Great question here from Megan. If the Cloud G or Q are used fully reclined, so in other words, flat, is it considered a safe sleep environment attached to the stroller?
No. You definitely still want to use the full harness system. Make sure you are fully, snug, nice, tight harness. And I would still say the same things about, not wanting to overextend the amount of time a child is in an infant car seat. And this would still apply to that as well, that it is always better to take a sleeping child when you get to your destination, take them out of a car seat and put them into a safe sleep environment. So definitely not replacing any type of sleep environment for that child. Just giving you that option if you are already going to take the infant car seat, stick it on the stroller and go about running errands or whatever it is you're doing. Now you have the option to recline the infant as you do that, but definitely not a place where they should be doing any kind of extended sleep.
Dana's question is, would you be able to purchase the Cloud G and then separately purchase an additional base and possibly get the Cloud G Lux base?
Yep, they are compatible with each other.
Perfect. And then Carrie is asking, does the belt tensioner indicate that the belt must be locked on it?
Wondering if that might be related to Revolve. So, I didn't hear the name of who asked that, but you can, clarify that if necessary, but I'm going to go with it's Revolve. And on Revolve, I mentioned we do have an indicator in there. That indicator turns from red to green just to tell you that you have fully closed that belt tensioner, because, it's putting a lot of tension on that belt and getting you a really secure install. So we want you to know that you have fully closed and it's made connection. That's where you're going to see the red to green. So, if you've gotten it into the green, then you have fully closed that tensioning device.
Okay. We have a little bit more time for a couple more questions here. So Claire is asking, will the latch guides be available for the rigid lower anchors?
That's a great question, Claire. I'm not 100% sure if we are shipping it with latch guides or not. You would be able to use latch guides, and we do have those available, I think, as an accessory. I know they're available in the world as an accessory for both of the brands. I'm not entirely sure how easy it is to order them from either of the websites, but you can always reach out to me about that if you really wanted a set. But the only time we won't allow you to use those latch guides is if you are using a hook style lower anchor. So certainly if you had access to the latch guides, you would be allowed to use it with that rigid lower anchor.
Okay. And we'll have one more question. And again, remember that Sarah's contact information is on your screen. So if we didn't get to your question, please reach out to her. But Marla is asking Sarah, on the rear facing only bases with the line recline indicator, sometimes it's too reclined, even when using the foot. Can anything be put under the back end to fix this?
No. So at this point, I would say in that situation, because I don't hear that very frequently, I would ask that you reach out to me. So if that comes up, I'd like to see a picture of the installation. I'd like to get some detail on the vehicle. And then that way I can discuss it with the team, because that's not something that typically comes up. But we can only allow that roll towel or those pool noodles to be used to help get more recline, and to put it underneath, the foot of the infant car seat base, not over the back end of that base.
All right. Well, before we close, Sarah, or the Bryans who are in the room, is there anything additional that any of you would like to add?
No, just a big, big thanks. It's been a lot of fun. I always enjoy sharing this hour with everybody. So thank you, Stephanie, for inviting us and for hosting this for us. And we look forward to chatting with you guys in the future, and hopefully at an event sometime this year.